Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel, and we're still at the farm. This is part 9, and if it's not, I'll put a note up top there of the great farm cleanup, and this video is following on directly from part 8 because I'm still here. It's Thursday lunchtime, and just had lunch. It's getting quite warm. I'm going home tomorrow just after lunch, so I've only got 24 hours left. What I've been doing this morning is loading up a bit of rubbish on the trailer. I'm going to have to do a load to the tip. I don't like throwing stuff out, but we have to start making some decisions on things. We've had another piece picked up this morning, the Sylvan fertilizer spreader that we tried on eBay, didn't sell, threw it on Facebook Marketplace for the same price, for $500. I didn't get any footage of Matt driving off with it, but he was happy. We got some cash, so that's great. Another lady turned up and paid for some corrugated iron, which I'll show you in a tick. I've been cleaning up down the side of the drive, so I'll go for a bit of a walk. I have a small repair job to do over in the cowshed, so I'll show you what I'm going to do there. And we'll just keep getting things ready. But I'm trying to keep out of the sun a bit. I got a bit sunburned on the back of the neck yesterday, and even though it's only 24 degrees, it's the sun's quite hot. Now, I do like cloudy days for filming outside, but we don't have a choice today. The sun's beating down. So I've got some old cement sheet board here to go to the tip. We can't do anything with that. It's not asbestos stuff, it's more modern. There's some stuff out of the barn, some old tarps that have had rats through them and that sort of stuff. So that's going to the local tip. We do have, I think we found some old fluorescent light tubes there that will go to the recycling centre. Now, let's just walk down the drive here and have a bit of a look. I took some photos of this old shed, little toilet shed. It was an outdoor toilet. Threw it on Facebook for $30. Thought someone might have use for it. There's no door. I thought it might be handy even as a pump shed or just somewhere to keep your garden tools. It's just made up of second-hand angle iron. In fact, if you have a quick look at the back frame, I think you'll recognise that as the base frame of a bed. So it's been made up out of second-hand odds and ends. And yes, we've already had someone claim that for $30, so that's good. I put a lot of this old poly water pipe on Facebook, I think for $20 the lot. No takers there as yet. But I think I might grab those 2 brass fittings from my brass bin. Now, over this side, I've been working down this side of the driveway here, trying to get it a bit neater. We put this steel frame on Facebook just for $20. Maybe someone wants to make a rabbit cage out of it. Has an interesting history, this. It's made out of probably 3/4 inch solid steel, all welded together into a frame. And Dad tells me that originally it was purchased from an army disposal store, probably just after World War II. And I think it was one of Dad's uncles used to keep pigeons in it. He had it mounted vertically, and it had doors on all the little areas, and he had pigeons in it for many years. It somehow ended up at the farm here, and Mum has raised chickens in there at various times. It's obviously a bit dilapidated now. There's no door on it, and some of the parts used to have timber. So I put that on Facebook just for $20, see if someone can use the frame. It might make a good rabbit cage. No takers as yet, but a couple of people have asked about it. We're going to give this old chicken wire away. There's not enough there to make up much value. Now, a lady just before, Abby, has come to claim all this corrugated iron, and there's a little bit more further up, and we just put $50 for all that on Facebook, and she's happy. She's going to come back probably my next trip, but she called in today just to pay us to make sure she had it put aside for her. This is a post hole digger 3-point linkage attachment boom. It hasn't got the auger, and we sold that in our first lot of eBay listings. It's still here, but the guy is apparently coming tomorrow to pick it up at last. And yeah, we're pretty well sorted out the rest of this stuff, so it's getting a bit neater down here. The barn's pretty well finished. I had a guy here yesterday cleaning up the last of the hall seats. He took all the parts. He still does have to get a couple of gangs of 4 and 5 seats, I think. So the barn's pretty well under control. Dad's been cutting up some large pieces of cement sheet just to repair the farmhouse. We've had lots of white ant damage in the farmhouse over the years, so he's been using this as a bit of a nice flat area to work. There's some carpet that's something, we'll probably give that away at some stage, and some old timber to burn and some empty cardboard boxes. And Mum and Dad still have to sort out the wool Mum has saved a lot of the old black fleeces over the years. She used to do spinning. In fact, at one stage, my brother and I sported homespun woolen jumpers, which were, yeah, I think they would probably be looked at as not very fashionable these days, but I can tell you they were warm. And no matter how many times you wash this stuff, it still smells like sheep. So there's a bit of wool to sort out, and they're the other seats that Andrew has to come back and pick up. So really the barn's just about totally organised, which I'm really pleased with. I like to work through a process of not just cherry picking all over the place, but actually finish one area totally and have areas really neat and organised. So that's just my personality. I like to work through systematically. So let's go and have a look at the quick project I've got to do in the cowshed, and then we'll finish loading up the trailer, do a run out to the tip. And what's next? I think we have someone coming to pick up some stuff later today, so there will be a bit more loading going on. So here's the old cowshed door, and it rubs on the concrete. Now things have moved, of course, as they do over the years. But what the problem is here is that the hinges, you can hear it scraping, the hinges are quite worn in the pins. They're very old T hinges. And I repositioned these hinges this morning. I actually took them off and re-screwed them back a bit higher, but the door still scrapes. Part of the reason is these are nailed in with roofing nails of all things, and they're a little bit loose. The bottom one's much the same. But the reason why it's scraping, here's the nice elaborate door latch that's operated with hay band from the other side. But the reason it's scraping is the whole frame flexes. I don't know if I can show you one-handed. I probably can't. But what happens is that the joins of the cross timbers flex with the vertical timbers, and it means that the far corner of the door sags down, and you can see where it's been scraping. So I've got to put a brace across from just above the top hinge up to the centre. I probably could almost do another one up the top, and you know how you see the diagonal braces on these doors. That's the reason. It gives them some strength. I think just one on the bottom will suffice for today, and I found a nice bit of old timber to do it with, so I'll get that organised now and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Right, I found a nice rustic piece of timber for the door. Should look good. The last thing we want is a brand new shiny piece of pine. It would look terrible. We need to flex the door upwards before we put the cross brace on. So if I get a little piece here and twist it, like so, the door is now in a good orientation that it should swing wide open. I think I've got that angle pretty good down there. So we've just got to mark off the right angle across the top here. Okay, I've clamped the board in position. I've drilled some holes, and I've drilled the holes through the board that I'm putting on, and the holes are larger, or just larger than the diameter of the screw, because we don't want them to thread into that board. We want them to thread into the board behind it and pull the boards tightly together. If you don't drill a pilot hole, or it's not a pilot hole, it's a larger hole through the front piece of timber. If you don't do that first, the screw will thread into the front board and then thread into the back board, and you often get a gap between them and it won't squash it up. So now I've drilled our holes, we can put these screws through, and hopefully they don't poke through the other side. I have measured them. All right, we'll start down the bottom. And there we go. The door seems to be able to swing all the way back. Fantastic. So it's stopped the sag on the door. Job's fixed. I might just put one more screw in the end there, and it looks the part too. So there we go. I can move on to the next job. Okay, it's sort of in fitting. Doesn't look too bad, and it works. That's the most important. Right, on to the next job. Are you guys coming or what? Well, the sun's just gone down after another very busy day. I did spend the afternoon doing more stuff, but I just didn't have my camera with me to film. We had a few things picked up. Let's have a look down the back lane first. We've made some really good inroads this week out here. The water tanks have gone. This afternoon, the other large fuel tank has been picked up. The one on a stand has gone. I've moved a few other little things around. I'm going to take some photos in the morning before I head back home. There's a large culvert, it looks like a giant pretzel. It's a corrugated iron twisted pipe that goes under your driveway for the water. So we'll probably put that on Facebook. I might take that wheel back to the shop. There's some concrete, brand new unused fencing posts in there, which we'll have to dig out and take some photos. I might leave them till next time. But really, we've made some great progress. I'm really happy with all the stuff we moved this week. Dad has had the old Chamberlain tractor out on the saw bench, and he's been cutting up a little bit of wood. So we're getting some things organised, and of course we have to get a bit of wood ready for the winter. In the middle of June, July and August out here, it usually gets very muddy, quite wet, and we need to keep the home fires burning, as they say. So the old tractor's set up on the saw bench here. We might have to have a wood cutting working bee at some stage. So this is where it all happens. But yeah, we had things picked up this afternoon. I had a guy out here with a trailer just before that took some of those old heavy cultivator sections that we tried on eBay and didn't sell. So a load of them has gone this afternoon as well. And Ross has been over here getting ready to do some fencing. Now that we've cleared up a lot of stuff, he's been levelling ground, and this laneway will be a laneway again with a brand new fence right through to the road over there, and that's where his property is, and those trees over there. So it's all working out really well. We're enjoying ourselves, we're making a bit of money, we're cleaning up the farm. There is a little touch of melancholy, a little bit of sadness. It's the end of an era, but I think Mum and Dad are actually kind of enjoying the process of finding good homes for all their stuff, and we are kind of pleased that it's not just being scrapped. There was a few people going to come this week to look at a lot of stuff down the graveyard, just, you know, rusty metal for their gardens and that sort of stuff, and that will hopefully happen next time I'm home. For one reason or another, neither of them could make it, but most of the stuff we sold has been picked up. Oh, that blue 220 litre water tank in the shed I showed you earlier has also gone, so very successful week. So this morning we said goodbye to the windmill fan blade. There it goes off to its new home as a garden feature. So it's great that it's going to be loved. They also actually found the tail fin for it too in the scrap pile. And now I've just finished loading up the van, about to head off. Just had a quick early lunch. We've got the cement mixer in here, which is being picked up from Nagambie, so I'm taking that home. A few other things, some old bikes to hang up in the shop, a few other bits and pieces. The old post hole auger, which might make a really cool letterbox stand. It may even be at our place yet. I haven't decided. So not a huge load, but at least we've got something to take back. It's another day, much the same as we've had. Mid-20s, quite warm in the sun. It's been a bit windy this morning, but we're calling this trip finished, and I'm about to hit the road. So now, heading off on my epic drive home. It's about 3.5 hours, so it is a fair bit of a drive, but the van goes pretty well, and it's pretty good on fuel. So we'll finish this video up now with some drone footage of the farm, and I have to thank my cousin Nick, who did an awesome job of capturing the farm from all different angles and great heights. And you can see here that it's the country really looks very dry at the moment. I think I mentioned in the last video that it's just in early March. We've just finished summer. There hasn't been any substantial rain for a while, but that's what this country looks like this time of the year. You're looking at crop stubbles. They dry off. You don't want a lot of rain over summer, because all it does is encourage weed growth. The farm looks like a bit of an oasis in the middle of pretty dry country. But it's nice to see it from overhead. You can see the house is all shrouded by trees. Mum's planted a lot of natives over the years. There's 2 large palm trees that have been there as long as I can remember. The farmyard actually looks a bit sparse because we've got rid of a lot of machinery. Here's an aerial shot, and you can see there's an area sort of centre right now that Ross has put in new sheep yards. So he's making some pretty good improvements to the property already. There's the driveway down to the main road, which isn't overly busy, but it is a sealed road. And we pan due west now, right across the dry Wimmera Plains. This one's coming from another angle from the northeast, heading across the farm site. So the yard's looking fairly vacant with all our machinery and things being cleaned up. across their house and the gardens there, which is pretty well just native trees in the front yard. And the bare paddocks here. Ross has got a lot of sheep in this paddock, and you can see the tracks they make. Sheep tend to walk sort of in single file, and they just create long winding tracks through the paddock. This is coming back from the opposite direction, across the farmhouse, directly over centre there. You can see in the distance the grain silos and the stick shed. I'll put a link up now. I did a tour of the stick shed once before. And the big shed there to your centre left or right left was Ross's farm. So this is coming from the northwest corner, straight across the farm again. You can see it's a fairly compact farm. A lot of farmyards are very spread out. Ours is fairly compact, reasonably neat. Some farms can be incredibly messy, but other farmers like to take a lot of pride in their yard and keep machinery organised and undercover where they can. So it's a good view. It's nice to have this record of the farm site from above and different angles. You can see just to the right, and you probably would have seen earlier, the Grampians, which is a big mountain range in Western Victoria. You can just see the tip of it to the top right now. And the machinery graveyard I refer to is just down that lane there to the right as well. So I'll wind this video up now. Thanks for watching. We'll be doing part 10 fairly soon. Bye for now.